The morning on Horizon 3 began like any other. Soft sunlight touched the metal rooftops of the colony, and the air felt calm as workers started their daily routines. Horizon 3 was a peaceful human settlement on the edge of charted space. People lived simple lives here, far away from the busy centers of the galaxy. Among them was Ethan Ward, a 30-year-old engineer known for his quiet, gentle nature. He worked in the repair bay near the colony dock, fixing everything from broken panels to old hover carts. Ethan did not think of himself as special. He believed he was just one ordinary human trying to do his job well. Every morning, Ethan arrived early and cleaned his tools with care. His hands always moved with calm precision. Other workers often said Ethan's presence brought peace to the room, even when things got stressful. He never raised his voice, never complained, and always tried to help anyone who needed a hand. That morning, Ethan was repairing a damaged drone when he heard a sudden, strange vibration from outside. The sound was deep, almost like a musical tone. It was unlike any engine he had ever heard before. He lifted his head and frowned slightly. Horizon 3 did not receive many visitors, and none of them used ships that produced sounds like this. A moment later, the entire repair bay shook lightly. Tools rattled on the shelves. The drone on the table slid an inch to the right. Ethan stood up slowly and walked toward the open doorway. Outside, the sky had changed. A massive shadow covered half the colony. People stepped out of buildings and stared upward with wide eyes. Floating above Horizon 3 was a starship unlike any they had ever seen. It was long and graceful, shaped like a curved crystal blade. Its surface shimmered with smooth silver-blue light, reflecting the sunlight in soft waves. Someone whispered, "Alari." "It's the Alari Empire." The name spread quickly through the crowd. The Alari were known across the galaxy for their peaceful nature and advanced wisdom. Their civilization was one of the oldest still standing. They rarely visited human colonies directly. When they did, it meant something important. Ethan felt confusion rising inside him. He had heard of the Alari many times in stories and history lessons, but he had never seen an Alari ship. The sight was beautiful and intimidating at the same time. Then, without warning, the ship released a gentle pulse of blue light. It drifted across the colony like a soft wave. Everyone shielded their eyes. When the light faded, a voice echoed in the air, calm, clear, and slightly musical. "We greet the people of Horizon 3. We come in peace. We seek the chosen human. He is important to the future of our royal family." People looked at one another in shock. Some murmured questions. Others pointed toward the ship, wondering who this mysterious chosen human could be. The voice repeated, slower this time, "We seek Ethan Ward. The chosen human is Ethan Ward. He must come with us." Ethan froze for a moment. He wondered if there was another person with the same name. But everyone around him slowly turned to stare. Their eyes moved from the sky to Ethan, who stood in the doorway of the repair bay. Completely stunned-eyed, a worker beside him whispered, "Ethan." "They mean you?" Ethan's mouth felt dry. His heart began to beat faster, but his mind remained strangely calm. That was his nature. It was hard to shake him completely. No matter how surprising a situation was, still, being called out by a Royal Alari ship was something he had never imagined. Before Ethan could say anything, a glowing path of light descended from the ship. It touched the ground gently, forming a smooth, floating walkway. At the top of the path stood two Alari royal guards. They were tall, calm figures with silver eyes and pale, crystal-like armor. One of the guards spoke in a respectful tone, "Ethan Ward, we request your presence." "You are safe. Please come with us." Ethan swallowed and stepped forward. His fellow workers moved aside, giving him space. Many whispered in amazement. Some looked nervous, unsure of what this meant for their colony. Ethan did not blame them. He felt the same uncertainty growing inside him. An elderly co-worker, Mr. Halden, placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder and said softly, "Be brave, son. Whatever this is, it seems peaceful. Go find out what they want." Ethan nodded. He took a slow breath and began walking toward the glowing path. The crowd stayed silent as he moved past them. The light under his feet felt soft, like walking on warm air. When he reached the top, the two guards bowed slightly, Thank you for coming. One of them said gently. Our princess has been waiting to meet you. Ethan blinked. Princess? Yes, the guard replied. Princess Caroline of the Alari royal line. That name meant little to Ethan, but the word princess made his confusion even stronger. He tried to speak, but the guard motioned kindly for him to follow. They led him into the ship. The interior was breathtaking. Everything was made of smooth crystal-like material, glowing with soft colors. It felt peaceful, almost like entering a large, quiet cathedral. The walls hummed with faint energy. The air smelled clean and cool. Ethan followed the guards through long hallways until they reached a large chamber, filled with floating lights and gentle patterns moving across the floor. At the center stood a tall figure dressed in elegant, flowing attire that seemed to shift color with every movement. She turned toward Ethan with calm eyes the color of starlight. This was Princess Caroline, the future heir of the Alari Empire. Even without anyone introducing her, Ethan somehow knew who she was. Her presence carried a soft but powerful grace that made the entire room feel balanced. Ethan felt instantly nervous, not because she looked intimidating, but because she seemed so different from anything he had known. The princess approached with a peaceful expression. Her voice was gentle when she spoke. Ethan Ward, she said, thank you for coming so calmly. I know this sudden call must have surprised you. Ethan nodded, trying to hide his confusion. Yes, Your Highness. May I ask why I'm here? I am only an engineer. The princess smiled slightly, a calm and kind smile. Many great roles are given to those who believe they are ordinary. You have something our people value greatly. Ethan blinked. I don't understand. Princess Caroline lowered her head in a respectful nod. You will soon. The Alari prophecy speaks of a ground-born mind, a being whose heart brings balance. Our council believes that person is you. Ethan felt his breath catch. Me, yes, she said softly. And for that reason, we have brought you here. You are chosen for something important, something that will shape the future of both our peoples. Ethan stood still, more confused than ever. But before he could ask more questions, the princess added calmly, You have been chosen. As my future partner. The words struck him like a soft but powerful wave. He stared at her, speechless, a human groom. For an alien princess? He could not even process it. The chamber remained quiet, filled only with gentle lights, as Ethan tried to understand how his simple life had suddenly changed forever. Ethan could hardly believe what he had just heard. A human, chosen as the future partner of an alien princess? The words kept echoing in his mind. He had repaired starship engines, built drones, and fixed colony machinery. But he had never imagined anything like this. Princess Caroline remained calm and composed. Her gentle eyes studied him carefully, as if she could see all the questions and fears swirling in his mind. Ethan, she said softly, I understand this is sudden, but your presence here is necessary. I will explain everything, so please listen. Ethan nodded, trying to steady his racing heart. He had always been a logical person. He liked facts, measurements, and predictable outcomes. This was nothing he could measure or predict. Caroline guided him to a seat made of a glowing crystal-like material. It adjusted itself gently to support his back. As he sat, he noticed that the room seemed to pulse with a soft rhythm, almost like it was alive. Our empire, Caroline began, is ancient. For thousands of cycles, the Alari have maintained peace and balance in our sector of the galaxy. But even with all our knowledge and wisdom, we face challenges that require more than strategy or technology. Some problems require a different kind of strength of heart, courage, and trust in others. Ethan listened carefully, leaning forward slightly. He had never imagined that a civilization as advanced as the Alari might need qualities like his own. You, Ethan Ward, she continued, have a quality our people value most. You are honest, kind, and brave. You do not seek power or fame. You act with clarity and compassion. That is why you were chosen. Ethan swallowed. He still did not fully understand. But why me? I am just a human. I've never left my colony except for occasional supply runs. I don't know your ways, your culture, or your people. Caroline smiled gently. That is exactly why. The prophecy speaks of a ground-born mind, someone not raised among us, not influenced by our customs. Your perspective, your simplicity, your courage. It brings balance. That is what the prophecy requires. You are not only chosen to marry me, Ethan. You are chosen to help bring harmony between our peoples. Ethan shook his head, trying to take it all in. I don't know if I'm capable of such a thing. I fix machines, not empires. Saraline's voice was calm, almost soothing. Courage does not come from titles, Ethan. Courage comes from the heart. The council has observed you. They believe in you because your nature is pure, your mind clear, and your spirit unyielding. That is why we summon you here. Before Ethan could respond, one of the royal aides approached and handed a small crystal tablet. Images floated above it in three-dimensional shapes. They showed his life on Horizon 3, the times he helped neighbors, the drones he fixed, the children he taught simple engineering tricks. This, Saraline said, is why you were chosen. You do not see yourself as remarkable, but we see your impact. You inspire without seeking recognition. You lead without authority. That is rare among any species. Ethan looked down at the images. He felt a mix of pride and embarrassment. He had always helped others because it was the right thing to do, never because anyone would notice. And yet here he was, chosen by an ancient civilization for a role he had never imagined. Ethan began, but Saraline held up her hand gently. You will have time to adjust, she said. There is no rush. You will learn our ways, understand our customs, and meet the council. We will not force you into anything without your understanding. But know this, your choice will shape the future of two worlds. Ethan swallowed hard. The weight of her words pressed on him. He had lived a quiet life, repaired machines, and helped neighbors. Now he was being asked to bridge entire civilizations. After a pause, Saraline continued. The wedding, Ethan, is not only a symbol of our prophecy. It is a commitment to unity. Our worlds have remained distant, but with this bond, we hope to strengthen trust, understanding, and cooperation between humans and Alari. Ethan nodded slowly. I never imagined such responsibility. I am honored, Princess, truly, but I am also afraid. I don't know if I can live up to your expectations or the prophecy. Saraline smiled, not a smile of superiority, but of understanding. Fear is natural. Courage does not mean the absence of fear, Ethan. Courage is moving forward despite fear. That is why you were chosen. That is why you are here. Ethan exhaled deeply. He realized that despite his fear, he wanted to try. Not for fame, not for power, but because he could see the importance of his actions, however small they might seem. The princess gestured toward a large window. Beyond it, the colony of Horizon 3 was visible, peaceful and small against the vastness of space. You are far from home now, she said softly, but this does not mean you must leave your values behind. Your simplicity, your honesty, your courage, these are your strengths. Do not forget them, even here in our world of advanced knowledge and technology. Ethan looked at the colony, then back at her. He could see why the Alari believed in him. His own strengths, which had always seemed ordinary, might actually matter more than he thought. Saraline led him to a quiet observation deck on the ship. 2 moons of a nearby planet reflected in the glass, and Ethan could see stars that he had never noticed before. You will meet our council soon, she said. They will explain the details of the prophecy and the responsibilities it entails. But for now, let us speak simply. Do you understand why you were chosen? Ethan nodded. Yes, I think I do. I want to try. Saraline's eyes softened. Good, that is all we ask. Your willingness to act, to understand, and to learn is what makes you capable. The princess then showed him a small library of holographic recordings about Alari customs, history, and philosophy. Ethan spent hours studying them. Every page, every recording, opened his mind to a civilization far older and more advanced than humanity. He learned about their traditions, their respect for balance, their patience, and their skill at diplomacy. By evening, Ethan felt both overwhelmed and inspired. He realized that this was not just about marrying a princess. It was about learning a new way of seeing the universe. It was about understanding that small acts of courage and honesty could ripple across entire civilizations. When he finally rested, Caroline joined him on the observation deck. "You are beginning to understand," she said. "But there is one more thing you should know." Ethan turned to her. "Yes? Even though this is a ceremonial wedding," she said, "it is also a test of character. Some of our nobles are unsure about a human taking this role. They will watch you closely. They may try to challenge your presence. But do not worry. Your strength lies not in weapons or titles, but in your integrity and heart." Ethan felt a mixture of determination and nervousness. "I will do my best," he said quietly. "Not for power, but to help both our peoples." Caroline smiled, and for the first time, Ethan noticed a faint sparkle of amusement in her eyes. "That is all we ask: courage, honesty, and willingness to learn. If you carry these, nothing else will matter." That night, as Ethan slept in a quiet chamber aboard the Alari starship, he thought about his life on Horizon 3. He thought about repairing drones, helping neighbors, and teaching children. He realized that every small act of kindness and courage he had ever performed had led him here. Not through prophecy alone, but because his choices, however small, had shaped him into someone worthy of this unexpected honor. He felt a quiet excitement. Tomorrow, he would meet the council. Tomorrow, he would begin learning more about the princess and her people. And though fear lingered, he knew he was ready to face the journey ahead. For the first time in his life, Ethan understood that being ordinary was not a weakness. Sometimes, ordinary humans could do extraordinary things. And perhaps, he thought with a small smile, this was just the beginning of a life he had never imagined. The soft hum of the starship surrounded him as he drifted into sleep. Outside, the moons of the nearby planet shone brightly, and stars stretched endlessly across the sky. The journey ahead would be challenging, but Ethan felt, for the first time, that he could meet it with courage, and above all, he knew one truth: he had been chosen not because of prophecy alone, but because of the small, steady strength that had always guided his heart. The next morning, Ethan woke to the soft glow of the Alari starship. He felt a strange mix of excitement and nervousness. Today, he would meet the Alari Council, the group of wise elders and leaders who guide the Empire. He knew that this meeting would be crucial to understanding his role as the chosen human. Princess Caroline met him outside his chamber, her calm presence immediately easing some of his tension. She wore a simple ceremonial robe that shimmered like moonlight, and her hair floated gently as if alive. "Good morning, Ethan," she said, her voice soft and melodic. "Are you ready?" Ethan nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." They walked together down the crystal corridors of the ship. Ethan observed every detail: the smooth walls that seemed to hum lightly with energy, the floating lights that illuminated the path, and the soft scent of minerals and ozone in the air. Everything was foreign yet beautiful, making him feel both small and honored at the same time. The council chamber was vast, circular, and glowing with soft golden light. Holographic symbols floated in the air, shifting slowly like a dance. Round the perimeter of the chamber sat 12 Alari elders, each dressed in robes of deep blue and silver. Their eyes were pale, almost glowing, and their expressions were calm but curious. Caroline guided Ethan to a central platform. "Council," she said respectfully, "this is Ethan Ward, the human chosen according to the prophecy." The elders observed him quietly. One of them, an older Alari with deep silver eyes, spoke in a voice that seemed to echo slightly. "Ethan Ward, we have watched your life through projections of your deeds. You have shown courage, honesty, and kindness. But tell us, why do you believe you can fulfill a role among the Alari?" Ethan felt the weight of their gaze. He took a deep breath. I do not know if I can fulfill it perfectly. I am just a human from a small colony. I have never ruled. I have never been part of a royal family. But I do know this: I always try to do what is right. I try to help others when I can, and I try to stay honest. If that is what you need, I will do my best to learn, to understand, and to act with honesty and courage. A hush fell over the chamber. The eldest elder nodded slowly. Your words show clarity. That is important. Actions alone are not enough. The mind must be steady, the heart calm, and the spirit strong. You are human, yet your qualities resemble the best of our kind. Ethan felt a strange mix of pride and humility. He had never imagined that simple acts of kindness on Horizon 3 would matter to an entire alien empire. Another elder spoke, her voice soft and melodic. You will face challenges, Ethan. Not all Alari are comfortable with a human joining our royal line. Some nobles may see this as a risk. They will watch you closely. Do you understand? Ethan nodded. I understand. I cannot control their opinions, but I can control my actions. The council murmured quietly among themselves, and Saraline's hand lightly touched Ethan's arm in reassurance. You are not alone, she said. I will guide you. We will face this together. After the meeting, Saraline led Ethan through the royal gardens of the starship. Even in space, the gardens were alive with soft glowing plants and small floating lights that resembled fireflies. The gardens were peaceful, designed for meditation and reflection. You did well, Saraline said, smiling. The council respects your honesty. That is what matters most to them. Ethan looked at her, feeling a mixture of admiration and curiosity. But you said some nobles are unsure. What if they don't accept me? What if they oppose this marriage? Saraline paused, her gaze distant for a moment as she looked at the glowing plants. Some may oppose, yes, but opposition is natural whenever change occurs. We cannot control it. We can only act with integrity and courage. If we do that, others will follow. Ethan nodded slowly. He had seen humans resist change, too. But he also knew that standing firm in truth often changed minds more than fear or power ever could. Over the next few days, Ethan spent time learning about Alari culture, their rituals, and their philosophy. He learned how the Alari valued balance in every decision, how they meditated to maintain calm, and how every action, even the smallest, could ripple through society. He learned about their art, their science, and their diplomacy. But most importantly, he learned about their values, patience, honesty, courage, and compassion. Ethan realized that these were qualities humans also valued, but sometimes overlooked. The more he learned, the more he understood why the Alari believed he could be part of something greater than himself. One afternoon, as Ethan walked in the gardens with Saraline, they watched a small stream of glowing water wind between crystalline plants. Do you ever feel lonely? Ethan asked suddenly. Saraline tilted her head slightly. Sometimes, she admitted. Even with the knowledge and wisdom we possess, there are moments when the weight of responsibility feels heavy. But seeing someone who acts with honesty and courage, it lightens the burden. That is why your presence is meaningful, Ethan. Ethan smiled faintly. I never thought my life on Horizon 3 would mean anything beyond our small colony. And now, I feel like it matters to an entire civilization. Saraline nodded. It does. Small actions can change the future. That is the essence of the prophecy. Your heart, not your title, is what matters. As the days passed, Ethan began to notice subtle tension in the palace. Some nobles watched him closely during ceremonies and meals, whispering quietly among themselves. They did not speak directly to him, but he could feel their scrutiny. One evening, a young noble approached him while he repaired a small device for the princess. The noble was polite but cold. Human, he said carefully. Do you understand what it means to join the royal line? This is not a task for someone untested. Are you certain you can uphold the expectations of the Empire? Ethan looked at him steadily. I do not know everything about your empire, but I do know that I will act with honesty, courage, and respect. I will learn from those who guide me, and I will do my best. That is all I can promise. The noble studied him for a moment, then nodded slowly. We shall see. Even with small challenges like this, Ethan did not falter. He realized that courage did not mean eliminating fear or opposition. It meant facing them with integrity and steadiness. Through all of this, Ethan and Saraline grew closer. They spent long hours walking in the gardens, studying Alari texts, and observing the stars. She taught him about meditation and patience, while he shared simple human ideas about engineering. problem solving, and community. One night, as they stood on a balcony overlooking the stars, Caroline asked softly, "Ethan, do you feel ready for the wedding?" Ethan hesitated. I feel ready to try, but I am nervous. I don't know what to expect. Some of the nobles may oppose me, and I don't fully understand your people yet." Caroline smiled, her hand brushing lightly against his. "Nervousness is natural. Fear is natural. What matters is how you act despite it. You have already shown courage simply by accepting your role and learning our ways. That is more than many could do." Ethan looked at the stars and nodded slowly. He felt a sense of calm he had never known on Horizon 3. Here, among the Alari, he realized that courage was not about strength or weapons, but about honesty, heart, and the willingness to face the unknown. As they walked back into the ship, Ethan knew that the coming days would not be easy. There would be whispers, doubts, and challenges. But he also knew that he had something valuable, something humans often carry without realizing: the power of integrity and a steady heart. And for the first time, he began to feel that perhaps he was ready to face whatever the prophecy, the council, or the empire would ask of him. The day of the wedding arrived, and the Alari capital shimmered like a jewel in space. The great halls of the royal palace were filled with soft, floating lights, and walls of crystal reflected gentle colors in every direction. Delegates from multiple planets had gathered to witness the historic event. The occasion was meant to unite humans and Alari through the symbolic marriage of Princess Caroline and Ethan Ward. Ethan stood quietly in his ceremonial robes. He had learned their customs, meditated to steady his mind, and studied the ways of diplomacy. Yet despite all this preparation, his heart still pounded with nervousness. This was unlike anything he had faced before. He was about to stand in front of the entire empire, and the weight of the prophecy pressed upon him. Caroline approached him with her usual calm grace. She wore a flowing robe of soft silver that seemed to shimmer like the night sky. Her eyes met his, and for a brief moment, all the fears in his mind faded. "You are ready," she whispered. "Remember, courage comes from the heart, not from the eyes of others. Stand firm, and the truth will show itself." Ethan nodded. He took a deep breath and followed her into the grand hall. The hall was a breathtaking sight. Floating crystal lanterns hovered above a polished floor that reflected the light in every direction. Nobles and dignitaries from dozens of star systems filled the seats, their expressions a mix of curiosity and caution. Many human delegates were present as well, their eyes wide with awe. The ceremony began with a quiet hum, a musical resonance that filled the hall with a sense of calm. The elders of the council sat at the front, observing closely. Caroline's parents, regal and composed, watched with subtle pride. Ethan's role was clear. He was not merely a participant. He was the symbol of unity between worlds. As the ceremony progressed, Ethan kept his focus on the princess. He followed each ritual carefully, bowing, speaking the ceremonial words, and performing the gestures taught to him over the past days. The audience watched intently, and the nobles whispered softly among themselves. Just as the officiant reached the moment to declare the union, a sudden hush fell over the hall. A tall noble with sharp features stepped forward from the side. His robe was darker than the others, embroidered with intricate silver patterns. His eyes were cool and calculating as he addressed the assembly. "Wait," he said firmly. "Before this union is finalized, there is something the Empire must know." A ripple of tension spread through the audience. The officiant paused, and even Caroline's calm expression tightened slightly. Ethan felt his heart quicken. He had expected challenges, but not a public interruption during the ceremony. The noble raised a hand, and a small device floated from his robes. It projected a holographic display into the center of the hall. Ethan could see multiple images of humans, each one glowing faintly. "The prophecy speaks of a chosen human," the noble said, his voice echoing. "But it also mentions a test. This device identifies potential humans who could fulfill the prophecy. We must ensure the true chosen one is with our princess, not a mistaken candidate." The audience murmured. Ethan felt panic rising, but Caroline placed a gentle hand on his arm. Her touch was grounding, reminding him of everything he had learned about courage and steadiness. The device scanned Ethan and the other candidates in a slow, glowing sequence. Lights shifted and shimmered, casting patterns across the hall. The other potential candidates appeared briefly, their images flickering, before fading away. Ethan stood as still as possible, focusing on his calm breathing and steady heart. He remembered the lessons Caroline had taught him: the strength of integrity, the power of honesty, the courage to act without fear. After a tense moment, the device glowed brighter around Ethan than any other candidate. The noble's face softened slightly, and the elders nodded in quiet approval. The hall fell silent, as if holding its breath. Then the eldest elder spoke, his voice calm but firm. Ethan Ward has been tested by the device, and by his own heart. His courage, honesty, and clarity shine above all. The prophecy is fulfilled. He is the true chosen partner of Princess Caroline. A wave of relief and admiration passed through the audience. Some nobles who had been skeptical bowed slightly, acknowledging the truth. Others remained cautious, but accepted the result without further protest. Ethan felt his shoulders relax for the first time that day. The weight of doubt lifted, replaced by a quiet sense of purpose. He looked at Caroline, who smiled at him with warmth and pride. The officiant resumed the ceremony. By the authority of the Alari Council and the traditions of the Empire, I now declare the union of Princess Caroline and Ethan Ward, the chosen human. The crowd erupted in soft applause. Ethan took Caroline's hand, feeling the warmth and reassurance of her touch. Together, they completed the remaining rituals, their movements synchronized and calm. The symbolic bond between human and Alari was now official, recognized by all present. After the ceremony, the celebration began. Guests from various worlds offered congratulations, and music filled the grand hall. Ethan was introduced to dignitaries, scholars, and leaders from many civilizations. Everywhere he went, people spoke to him with respect. Some still curious, others genuinely impressed by his composure. During a quiet moment, Caroline led Ethan to a balcony overlooking the glowing city of the Alari capital. The buildings shimmered with soft colors, and streams of light floated between towers, reflecting on the surface of a crystal river. "You did well today," Caroline said softly, "not because of ceremony or prophecy, but because you acted with honesty and courage. That is what the Alari value most." Ethan looked at the city below and then back at her. "I never imagined that being myself could matter so much. I always thought small acts, like helping neighbors or fixing machines, were too ordinary to matter." Caroline shook her head gently. "Ordinary acts create extraordinary ripples. The council saw it, I saw it, and now the entire empire will see it. Your choices, your heart, have already made a difference." As the sun set behind the crystal towers, the sky turned shades of pink and gold, reflecting on the distant stars. Ethan felt a deep sense of peace. For the first time in his life, he realized that courage and honesty were not just simple virtues, they were powerful forces that could change worlds. But even as celebration filled the halls, Ethan knew challenges remained. Some nobles might still question his role, and the journey to unite humans and Alari was just beginning. Yet he no longer feared the unknown. With Caroline at his side, he felt ready to face whatever came next. That night, during the quiet moments of the celebration, Ethan and Caroline walked through the gardens once more. The glowing plants and floating lights seemed to dance in harmony with their steps. "Do you ever wonder," Ethan asked, "if being chosen means I have to be perfect?" Caroline laughed softly, a sound like wind over crystal. "No, being chosen does not mean being perfect. It means being true to yourself, facing challenges with courage, and acting with honesty. That is why you were chosen. Not for perfection, but for your heart." Ethan smiled faintly. "Then I guess I have a lot to learn." "And so do I," Caroline replied, her eyes reflecting the lights of the gardens. "Together, we will learn. Together, we will lead. And together, we will show that humans and Alari can grow stronger through trust and understanding." As they stood among the glowing plants, Ethan felt a deep connection not only to Caroline, but also to a purpose far greater than himself. The prophecy was no longer just words or symbols. It was a living journey, and he was at the center of it for the first time. Ethan realized that his life had changed in ways he could never have imagined. From repairing machines in a small colony to standing as the chosen human of an ancient empire. His journey had only just begun, and with courage, honesty, and heart, he knew he could face whatever the future held. Outside the palace, the moons of the planet glowed softly, casting gentle light over the city. Stars stretched endlessly across the sky. Inside, the grand halls of the Alari Palace shimmered with music, laughter, and hope. And in the midst of it all, Ethan and Caroline walked side by side, ready to face a future full of possibilities, challenges, and unity. The twist of the day, the test. The doubts, the unexpected challenge had passed. Ethan had proven that strength came not from titles or power, but from integrity and heart. And as the celebration continued, he knew that this was only the beginning of a story that would change the worlds forever. The day after the wedding, the Alari capital shone with quiet energy. Guests from multiple worlds had departed, leaving the palace calm and serene. The celebration had ended, but for Ethan Ward, the work was only beginning. He was now not only a guest of honor, but also a symbol of unity between humans and the Alari. Ethan awoke early and walked to the observation balcony of his chamber. Outside, the twin moons reflected softly on the crystal towers below, and distant stars stretched endlessly across the sky. He had spent the night reflecting on everything that had happened, from a simple life on Horizon 3 to being chosen as the partner of Princess Caroline. He realized how much responsibility now rested on his shoulders. Caroline joined him silently, her presence calm and reassuring. She leaned against the railing, looking at the city below. "Good morning, Ethan," she said. "Did you sleep well?" Ethan nodded. "I did. But I keep thinking about what comes next. I have learned a lot about your people, but there is still so much I do not know. And some nobles. I am not sure they will accept me fully." Caroline smiled softly. "Acceptance comes with time. What matters is your heart, Ethan. You have faced the test, the council, and the ceremony with courage. That alone earns respect. Trust in that and in yourself." Ethan looked at her, feeling both gratitude and determination. He realized that the journey ahead would not be easy. Unity between worlds required more than a ceremony. It required understanding, patience, and action. Over the following days, Ethan began his new role in the capital. He attended council meetings with Caroline, observing the discussions of laws, trade, and diplomacy. At first, many nobles remained cautious. Some whispered doubts about a human influencing Alari decisions, while others simply watched him closely, waiting to see if he would falter. Ethan faced every challenge with patience and honesty. When asked for his opinion, he spoke clearly and respectfully. He suggested small improvements in technology, shared simple but effective solutions for environmental management, and offered insights into human ways of building communities. His ideas were practical, straightforward, and rooted in real experience. Slowly, the nobles began to notice. One day, a council debate became tense. Several nobles disagreed on how to distribute resources to a distant colony that had recently reported food shortages. Voices rose, and arguments became heated. Ethan, sitting quietly, raised his hand. "Perhaps," he said calmly, "we could combine your resources with local human farming techniques. They are simple, efficient, and can adapt quickly to changes. This would help the colony immediately while also giving them tools to improve in the long term." The council members paused. The eldest elder regarded him with a small, approving nod. "This is a practical solution," he said. "Ethan Ward has considered both the immediate needs and long-term stability. We will adopt it." Some nobles looked surprised, but they could not deny the effectiveness of the idea. Ethan realized that even small contributions could earn trust. He did not need to prove himself through power or status. He only needed to act with honesty and clarity. As the weeks passed, Ethan and Caroline traveled to nearby planets and colonies. They visited human settlements, sharing knowledge of Alari culture, technology, and governance. They also visited Alari colonies, learning about their traditions and challenges. Each journey strengthened their understanding of one another and the unity between species. During one visit to a remote human colony, a child approached Ethan with a small, broken drone. "Can you fix it?" the child asked shyly. Ethan smiled. Of course, as he worked, he explained the basic principles of mechanics to the child. When the drone finally whirred to life, the child's eyes sparkled with excitement. Ethan realized that even in his role as the chosen human, he could still bring joy and knowledge through simple actions. Caroline watched quietly, a proud smile on her face. "You have a way of teaching that reaches hearts," she said. "That is why you are so valuable, Ethan. Your strength lies not in authority, but in inspiration." Back in the capital, Ethan faced another challenge. Some nobles, though no longer openly hostile, remained skeptical. They questioned whether a human could truly understand Alari politics and traditions. Ethan met with them one by one, not with force or argument, but with conversation, patience, and honesty. He listened to their concerns, shared his ideas thoughtfully, and showed respect for their experience. Slowly, walls of doubt began to fall. Nobles who had doubted him began to acknowledge his insight, praising his practical solutions and clear thinking. Even those who remained cautious recognized that his presence had a positive effect on the Empire. One evening, after a long day of council meetings, Ethan and Caroline returned to the palace gardens. The soft glow of the plants and the floating lights created a peaceful atmosphere. Ethan sat on a low crystal bench, feeling the weight of the day lift slightly. "Do you ever feel tired of all this responsibility?" he asked. Caroline shook her head gently. "Sometimes. But when I see the change we can bring, the hope we can create, it gives me strength. And you, Ethan, you bring a kind of calm courage that inspires even me." Ethan smiled faintly. "I never thought I would matter this much. I always believed my actions were small, unnoticed, and now I see that even small actions can change the world." Caroline took his hand, a quiet gesture that spoke of trust and partnership. "You have changed my world, Ethan, and together we will change the Empire." The months passed, and the human-Alari bond grew stronger. Trade agreements flourished, colonies prospered, and cultural exchanges became common. Humans learned about Alari philosophy, science, and art, while Alari learned about human creativity, adaptability, and determination. Ethan and Caroline's partnership became a symbol of cooperation and hope. Stories of their journeys spread across the Empire, inspiring people to work together, respect differences, and value courage and honesty. Through all of this, Ethan remained humble. He never forgot his life on Horizon 3, repairing machines and helping neighbors. That simplicity grounded him, reminding him that true strength came from heart, not title. One evening, as Ethan and Caroline stood on the balcony of the palace overlooking the glowing city, she spoke softly. "Ethan, look at what we have achieved together. You came here as an ordinary human, but your courage, honesty, and determination have made a difference across worlds. You have shown that humans can rise not through power, but through heart." Ethan looked at the shining towers below, then at the endless stars above. "I never imagined I could do all this, but with your guidance, and by staying true to myself, I see now that even one person can make a difference." Caroline smiled, placing her hand on his arm. "And this is only the beginning. The Empire will continue to grow, learn, and prosper. Together, humans and Alari will face challenges and explore new possibilities. And you, Ethan, will always be at the heart of it." Ethan felt a deep sense of peace. He realized that life was no longer about a single colony or a single starship. It was about connection, understanding, and courage, the kind of courage that moved quietly. It changed everything. As they watched the stars, a sense of hope filled the air. The prophecy had been fulfilled, but not through magic or destiny alone. It had been fulfilled through heart, determination, and integrity. Ethan understood now that anyone, no matter how ordinary they seemed, could rise to extraordinary heights if they stayed true to themselves. And in that quiet moment, standing beside Caroline, he felt ready for anything the future might hold. He had learned that life's greatest adventures often began with a single step, taken with courage and honesty. The moons reflected their soft light on the palace towers. The crystal gardens shimmered, and the city of the Alaris sparkled with promise. Ethan knew that this was not just a new chapter in his life, it was a new beginning for both humans and Alari. The story of an ordinary human chosen as the partner of an alien princess had become more than prophecy. It had become a tale of unity, courage, and hope, a reminder that the simplest virtues could shape the fate of worlds, and together, Ethan and Caroline looked toward the stars, ready to build a future filled with trust, understanding, and endless possibilities.